Hello, Sir Sugarmeat here today to talk about yet a very specific experience that maybe only 10 basement dwellers will relate to. Also, yes, I realize my new hair is reminiscent of Shadow the Hedgehog. Nice. No, I don't want to talk about it. When I was a kid, I loved anime. I was a huge weeaboo, as they called them back in the day, when liking anime wasn't as socially acceptable as it is nowadays. And a huge part of weeaboo culture was watching AMVs, or anime music videos. AMVs, if you've never seen one, are essentially just a bunch of clips from anime, usually like edited or spliced together to like a specific song. Like the title implies, it's like making your own music video for your favorite anime. A lot of the ones I loved were unfortunately lost to time and are taken down now at this point, which, like, guys, you have no idea how sad that makes me because I am so nostalgic for them. Make sure you save the media you love, okay? However, there are still a few up, all in their 240p glory, like this Zabuza Haku AMV edited to System of a Down's Chop Suey, which was so freaking cool to me as a kid. The Zabuza and Haku arc from Naruto did some major psychological damage to me as a kid, and this was also my first introduction to any sort of metal music. And putting all that together, I don't think I was ever able to recover from this AMV. Another example, the original got taken down, but someone thankfully reposted this legendary Inuyasha AMV, edited to 4 seasons by Namie Amuro, though I guess in this re-upload they had to do a cover of the song because I guess the original got copyright striked. I don't know who the original creator of this AMV was, but the AMV itself was posted on taiyokai.com, which is a now defunct site that hosted specifically Inuyasha AMVs. If you're a hardcore Inuyasha fan back in the day, you probably knew about this site and you were probably also grieving when this site got taken down. Thank goodness for the Wayback Machine, so that way we can re-experience our nostalgic childhoods and confirm that these sites were real, instead of wondering if we were all having group psychosis across the net in the early 2000s. Typically when it came to viewing AMVs, I would normally look for ones that featured anime I was already interested in. It was sort of like an activity to do after you completed a show or completed a season to feed your inner fangirl, you know? Regardless of what your gender is. AMVs are like supplemental treats to the fandom diet. However, there was one AMV that I stumbled upon that featured an anime I was unfamiliar with, and that anime was Princess Tutu. Now again, I want to emphasize that I normally watch AMVs of anime that I was already interested in, right? Most of the time, I'm not really going to feel any type of way about an AMV where I'm unfamiliar with the characters. It's more so like my pre-existing attachment to the characters is what made an AMV overall satisfying. Maybe I also like the song, but let's be completely honest, most of the AMVs of the 2000s were not that high in quality, so you didn't really get as much out of it most of the time if you watch an AMV featuring characters that you weren't really familiar with. I'm not going to show them, but there were quite a few AMVs that I rewatched that made me say, wow, gee, that really did not hold up, did it? But several things about this Princess Tutu AMV in particular piqued my interest. First of all, if you notice, the title is in Swedish, which is a language that not many AMVs at all were set to. Secondly, the aesthetics also intrigued me. I can't quite remember what the original thumbnail was, because all that exists now are re-uploads, which all feature different thumbnails, but the anime itself does take place at a ballet academy and features a lot of fantasy elements, seeing as how it is a magical girl anime, which I was very into overall, although I will say, I did think that the name was pretty silly. Like, Princess Tutu? That sounds ridiculously frilly. A bit on the nose for a ballet magical girl anime, isn't it? But oh well, I decided to give it a shot anyway. I clicked on the video and oh my god, my life was changed forever. The editing was so good. I wish I could just play it for you guys, but I don't want to get copyright striked, so I'm gonna leave the link in my description. In fact, if you want to go watch that video now and then return to this video so we can gush about the video together, I will not mind. The original creator of this AMV was a woman named Marissa Panaccio, and her timing and editing skills were impeccable. This AMV was apparently submitted in an AMV contest at Anime Boston of 2006, and obviously it won because it's just so freaking phenomenal. There will be spoilers for Princess Tutu, by the way, so if you don't want to see or hear any, please do click off and return at a later time. But I gotta geek out about this video real quick because everything about this 2006 AMV still fucking slays. Even though I didn't know these characters, Marissa made me care about them, first of all, by choosing a banger of a song that really suits the anime. The song, again, is a Swedish one called Håll by Nanne Grönvall. At least I think that's how you say her name. I'm basing it off of the way this guy says it. Nanne Grönvall! The song itself also has some pretty cool history. Nane's song won a 2004 song contest and was selected for an event called Melodifestivalen. The reason why this was extra cool is because apparently there were very few songs with female songwriters selected for this event. So you know, 2005 diversity win. The song was a hit with the audience and viewers of the event were disappointed when it did not win. However, this song did continue to top Swedish singles charts for the next 32 weeks according to the song's Wikipedia page, and from what I've seen, it is considered a classic in Sweden. As for what the actual song is about and sounds like, it's basically a fun pop love song that has this upbeat, sassy tango feel. It's very catchy, it serves a lot of cunt, it's very energetic. The strings and lyrics give playful seduction, while the added guitars give this kind of roughness to it, and Marissa understood that musicality and translated that into the editing of the AMV. This song is very suitable for Princess Tutu because despite its title and how the show looks in general, it is actually so much more mature and beautifully crafted than it gets credit for. And when I say mature, I don't mean like it's straight up in your face traumatizing like how other magical girl show Madoka is. I mean, it's actually a very somber fairy tale with a not overtly happy ending and a very tragic love triangle. Or I guess love square really, if you want to include Fakir into the mix. And the AMV really showcases the intensity of these character dynamics by incorporating clips of the characters' solo dances and pas de deux scenes, as well as the scenes where they are just fighting each other either with their magical girl powers or with swords. Basically, only the most action-packed scenes that clue the audience into what each character's motivations and roles are. And it helps a lot too that Marissa sped up some of these scenes not only to make them look more intense, but also to match the beats of the music. So it just made each scene that much more satisfying to look at when it coincided with a beat. I mean, obviously every AMV tried to match with the beat of the music, but I think Marissa had just better timing compared to most other AMV creators. Another thing that makes this AMV so great is that you can essentially gather the vague summary of the series just by the AMV alone. Marissa did an amazing job with pacing the scenes in this video as though she is recrafting the Princess Tutu narrative itself, with the video first starting out by introducing the main character Ahiru, her rival Ru, and then establishing each of these girls' relationship with the prince character Muto, until eventually adding Fakir, our knight character, into the mix and showcasing how he appears to be a bit of an obstacle for both of our female characters. Doesn't matter if it's the antagonist or the protagonist, Fakir kinda just gets in the way. The AMV features a little bit of the ending, but with just the right amount of information in my opinion. Like, if a newcomer watched this AMV, I don't think it would necessarily ruin the ending for them, because you can't really decipher what is going on without further context. But at the same time, in my opinion, it gets you curious enough to want to find out. At least that was the case for me, and also seemingly for many others who watched this AMV. Similar sentiment to this comment, the actual trailers for this anime didn't really get me interested in it, but this AMV sure did. I also just want to shout out this particular edit, which features the narrator character, Drosselmeyer, watching all of these different scenes, because this was one of my favorite editing bits about this video back in the day. For reference, most of the AMVs I saw were essentially poorly edited slideshows of clips, but Marissa actually edited out the original scenes that were inside of these gear circles and replaced and edited the scenes to better match the feel of the music. Like, no one was doing it as creatively and cleanly as Marissa. Like, oh my god. Just, I can't understate how well done this AMV is, and it still blows me away in the year of 2025. And the AMV's legacy seems to have lived on. Both re-uploads I found have millions of views and continue to receive comments from people to this day, saying how they never forgot this AMV and how they still rewatch it from time to time. And I can't blame them, I am one of those people. Just like me, for many others, it seems as though this video was their gateway into Princess Tutu. And I think that truly speaks to Marissa's skill. Ironically though, apparently when Marissa chose this song for the AMV, she hadn't even watched the anime yet according to the fan lore page. I don't know who was the source for that or how they even found that out, so take it with a grain of salt, but hilarious if true. Now, if you're wondering what the creator is up to these days, sadly, I don't know. I tried my hardest to see if Marissa had done anything else or was creating something different these days. I did stumble upon a playlist of some of her other AMVs, which all featured the same impeccable timing and editing, but with even older and more obscure anime. So maybe I'll watch some of these whenever I have the time. I'm gonna be honest, her dogfight AMV made me genuinely wonder if I should start watching Kaleidostar. I did also find her old website, which I did access through the Wayback Machine, and though unfortunately most of it was not working, I was able to look at her guest book, a feature of the old internet. Back in the day when you made your own website, because that's just what people did in the 2000s, you often had a feature or page called the guest book, a page where random people who stumbled upon your website could like sign their name and leave a comment and stuff. Guest books were always so fun because people were typically very nice and sweet, or just random and weird but in a funny way. You did of course have the occasional person who was just creepy or mean, but I feel like it was just so much more exciting back in the day because there was significantly less traffic to any site in the toddler years of the internet. So receiving a comment in your guest book was just a rarer occurrence and therefore exciting. But yeah, sorry, guest book tangent aside though, couldn't really find any information on her old site either. Last thing I found was her AMV.org profile. I knew it was hers because the AMVs listed as disusers were also part of the Marissa Panaccio AMV playlist I found on YouTube. And while I couldn't really figure out how to use the site and didn't really want to sign up for a membership, I did see that her last login into her account was as recent as 2021, which tells me whatever she is doing now, AMVs are still a part of her life. How big of a part that is, I don't know, but that kind of makes me happy knowing that she still looks back on those times 4 years ago. I hope she sees just how much her AMV has impacted the anime-loving community, and I hope one day she considers making just maybe one more AMV, because hot damn, I wonder how her skills would have evolved in the span of 2 decades. Anyway folks, that was the AMV that convinced me to watch Princess Tutu. I tried my best not to spoil the plot of this anime, because I think that every anime enjoyer should watch it, especially if you like the magical girl genre. But if you're still not convinced that you should watch Princess Tutu, I also recommend watching this video by Neuralities. Even if you have already seen this anime, I greatly appreciated her analysis of the series, so give it a watch if you have the time. Anyway, that's about it for me folks. Did you also watch this AMV when you were a kid? Were you part of the great majority of Princess Tutu fans that were convinced to watch the anime because of this AMV? Or did you have a different AMV that you thought was amazingly edited that convinced you to watch a different anime you had no previous knowledge about? Let me know in the comments below, leave a like if you like this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.
Look at this face. I hate this face and its feelings.